Hello, ranters. I'm Ryan.
What up? This is Robert.
Let's rant. Welcome back, once again, ranters, to another installment of Ryan and Robert Rants. I am joined, as always, by my sexy like a chocolate strawberry co-host, Robert.
I am Captain America, but I don't have America's ass.
All in good time. All in good time. We just got to find you that serum.
Okay.
On today's episode, we will be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, titled Truth. First, before starting, if you haven't seen it, there are spoilers ahead, so do yourself a favor, pause the video, and come back and join in on the conversation.
Also, anything we say is all in good fun, as it should be, so please have a sense of humor and an open mind before continuing.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's talk about that opening scene with John Walker. What did you think? How did you feel about this week?
I want to point out first, when they were showing him running, side by side with the train tracks, he was running mighty slow for a super soldier. Just want to point that out. Because, every time we see, Sam, Steve, and, Black Panther, they're like, they're running like 40 miles an hour. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they're Tom Cruise running in Mission Impossible 3.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, you know what? I didn't realize that. I think part of me did, but I didn't really register that. The one thing I did like was because we got to talk about it, dude, is Wyatt Russell, man.
Oh.
It sounds like we're fangirling, we're standing, whatever
I'm
term
okay
you
with
want to
that.
use. Like, it's like, but he's just really good. I love when he gets to the warehouse and he just breaks down. He's having the flashbacks about what happened, and he's just like he's portraying it so well. And that kneel that he does. When
PTSD.
When he's just kneeling there with the shield, it's such a beautiful shot, and he's just doing such a great job. So haters, get off his back.
Yeah, I like it because, like you mentioned the shot of it, like it's kind of like a far shot. So he's basically centered, and you see this desolate like warehouse just surrounding him, and you kind of like, I think it's kind of like a metaphorical type thing, like inside, like it's kind of portraying his mindset right now. Like it's just he's desolate, and he's lost it. Let's be real, he's lost it. And it's almost, I want to say it's almost like Shakespearean in a way, like you see all these like tragedies, like Hamlet, and because you have these main characters who kind of start off in a high status position, and then throughout the course of the play or the story, however you want to interpret it, they kind of bring about their own downfall. Like that's the whole, that's the whole like formula for it. And you kind of see that with John Walker. I'm sure he's worked up to being where he was at, being a great soldier, and probably the perfect candidate to, I wouldn't say the perfect, but a good candidate to become the new Captain America. And then you see it, like he ends up injecting himself with the serum because he feels like he's not good enough, and then all of a sudden his best friend and his partner ends up getting murdered, and then you see him bring about his own downfall because he ends up losing it, like mentally, and the serum just exacerbated it all. And I felt it was very Shakespearean to watch this character fall like that.
Oh, for sure. Like 100% agree with you on that. It's very, very Shakespearean, especially, again, we've said it on previous episodes regarding this. It's first and foremost, this whole series is tragedy. It is in the tragedy, in the wake of tragedy, and overcoming it and learning to cope with everything. And this just continued it, and being able to see how it's affected John Walker, and like you said, he's consistently struggling with his inner turmoil of I want to do right by this, and all that doubt that's in his head, and all of the expectations that he's trying to meet to say, I am as good, if not worthy, of being Captain America. It's just the back and forth of him struggling with that, and like you said, it could not have been more personified than showing the scene of an empty warehouse and him just kneeling down, defeated,
Mm-hmm.
like just defeated by his thoughts, by his actions, everything. The fact that he was trying so hard to not let the world and everyone around him bring him down, but it was actually himself
Yeah.
that brought him down. Like it was just, and like I said, it was just so beautifully portrayed. Like, you're only as good as the material that you're given, and like I said earlier, Wyatt Russell is just doing such a phenomenal job at portraying that, that uneasiness, that, that doubt, that inner conflict. And, we'll talk about it a little more too, because there's a couple of things that I noticed throughout, like subtle things that he's doing with the character's behavior as far as body language. But like I said, we'll talk more about that later, in a later scene. But yeah, like I said, it's just a beautiful scene.
Yeah. And then followed shortly after, you have Sam and Bucky strolling into the warehouse, confronting John Walker. And it seemed like Sam had almost talked him down, and then he mentions I need the shield, and I think that triggers anything to do with Captain America and the shield kind of triggered something in John Walker, saying, no, you're basically going to strip me of what I've become. He thinks he is Captain America, but he doesn't understand, like, Captain America isn't like a person. I mean, I know Steve Rogers was Captain America, but I feel like that just the title and being Captain America is more symbolic. Like, Steve Rogers was Steve Rogers. I mean, he did symbolize everything that Captain America was, but I think John Walker wasn't able to distinguish the difference between being himself and being Captain America, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And
Yeah.
especially when you go back and you really think about it, and that was something that I was doing a lot, especially with what they talked about in this episode about legacy, about, what Steve stood for and all of that. But you gotta also remember, and I was surprised, like, when it hit me, I was like, I completely forgot about that what Captain America originally was, as far as in the MCU, that he was a poster boy for the
Mm-hmm.
war. He was like, oh, he's thinking, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fight and do all this, and he was like, no, you're just gonna be the poster boy for the
Yeah. When
war.
the yeah
Like,
when
you
Erskine ended up getting murdered and they didn't have the serum anymore, he was their only one. And I think Tommy Lee Jones' character said that well, we can't send our only super soldier to war, and just in case, so we were just going to use him as a way to sell bonds, war bonds.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and that I just found that so interesting, especially with everything. But I'll try to bring that back at the end of the episode, because it does tie in a lot with the ending. But we will get there, all in good time. But dude,
Can we talk
I
about the
think it
fight?
was, yes, I think it was the
Oh,
last episode or the episode before when we talked, and I was like, I want that brawl. Like, it has to happen. Like, there's no way it's
yeah.
not gonna happen. Oh my god, we got it. And, oh, it was
I
everything I
was
wanted
I
and
was
so
trying to
much
stay
more.
away from like any of the promos and stuff like that they were showing for the last two episodes, and the only thing I saw was it was a meme, but it was like it was when they confronted him, and John Walker says, you don't want to do this, and Bucky was just like, yeah, we do. And I was like, yes, finally, because I'm a big Bucky guy. Like, I like Bucky, especially okay, I'm more of a Sebastian Stan guy, so but like, and I'm just like, yes, let's see this. But I mean,
Yeah,
I,
we
I
can't
was
forget
kind of
about
hoping.
your Sebastian Stan back tattoo.
Oh yeah, I'm a Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stans.
Yeah, for sure. And it was like, and like it was honestly, I think this fight kind of more like I love the creative ways they have Sam use his wings. Like you saw it you've seen it over the course of the MCU history. Like you've seen it in Winter Soldier, and I thought the Falcon was like the low key MVP of that movie because I didn't know what to expect from the Falcon. Like I mean, I'm in the comics he's like it's kind of weird, but like I don't know, I didn't know what to expect. And when I saw the Winter Soldier, I was like, man, I was like
Oh,
Sam Wilson's low key MVP right now.
one of my favorite scenes in Winter Soldier is towards the end when he has the heat seekers following him, and then he like goes towards the bottom of the ship to break the
Mm-hmm.
glass, and he does that little barrel roll, not barrel roll, that little front flip. The
Oh yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
know. Yeah,
and like he's just like when he closes the wings and he's just free falling, and then boom, he opens the wings back up, and then he just flies in. I was just like, oh,
yeah,
like. Or when they throw
yeah.
Sitwell off the roof. But yeah, like you said, like it's whoever is in charge of that creativity. Like they gotta have action figures there at the office and be like,
Oh,
oh, would it be cool if he did this and whatnot? Like, yeah, you
I
said it
feel like they do
perfectly.
something. I feel
Yeah,
like they have to. They're
like
like, is it
it's.
possible to him to do this and this?
Well, I mean, look at what was it, episode 2 when or episode 1 when he's flying underneath the 18-wheeler.
Episode 1, yeah,
Yeah, when him and Bucky.
yeah. We're getting
Right.
beat by the Flag Smashers.
Exact. Yes. But yeah, dude. That fight scene. Like I said, I need a cigarette right after. Just like,
Yeah,
was it
it
as
was
good
pretty
for you as it was for me?
Yeah, and I was like, I mean,
That
I think I
arm
said it
break,
in the
dude.
last episode.
Oh, what
I
were you
think I
gonna
said
say?
in the last episode how it seemed like Bucky was always like the punching bag, and it kind of came back again. I'm like, but I mean,
Yeah.
I just like I feel like I want to know the difference in these super soldier serums because Bucky's a super soldier, and now John is a super soldier. So I'm like, why does it seem like Bucky's just always getting his ass kicked?
It's because he's got one of those, early release serums. Back when it used to
Maybe.
have like they used to mix the cocaine in it, so it gives
Right.
it gives that little thing. John Walker's got that, gluten free,
Non-GMO.
non-GMO, grass fed,
Yeah.
serum.
Bird of beef.
Exactly.
Shout out to Letterkenny.
End of the lane, or was it end of the road? What would he say?
Is it end of the laneway? Don't come up the property.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my god, dude. And that arm break when they
Oh.
so actually before we talk about that, actually while that's happening, before the arm break even happens, that look that John Walker and Bucky have when they're staring at each other, and you got Sam trying to pull the shield out from his arm, and they just look like
And I feel like I know it was like but I think when they lingered on that stare down between John and Bucky, I don't know if it was intentional. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, or I'm just like really loving Wyatt's performance. But I kind of felt like there was a look in John Walker's eye where he kind of knew he was about to lose.
yeah.
I don't maybe I just saw it too much, but there was just a hint of it. He's just like like I felt like he knew he was about to lose the fight. I don't know, maybe he kind of wanted to be defeated, but I don't know. I might be reading too much into it.
No, like I
But
said earlier, like I think you are onto something. There's things that he's been doing with his body language that's portraying that it's saying a lot more than literally saying it. Like it's like I said, he's just I'm with you on that. There is something there, and I'll definitely I am gonna revisit this episode eventually, but it was just all in good time. But
so you
we got
to talk about this arm break, this what I'm hoping to be the MCU version of the Wilhelm scream of John Walker's arm break here.
yes, just
I mean,
clip it.
the pitch of the scream was amazing. Like
Ah, or something
yeah,
like
like
that.
it wasn't quite the Wilhelm scream, but it was close. And I know like Star Wars has their own version of the Wilhelm scream. Like you hear it from stormtroopers all the time and throughout, episodes of whether it's the Mandalorian or the movies or clone troopers, Clone Wars with the clone troopers. You hear this specific version of the Star Wars Wilhelm scream. I am perfectly cool with the MCU capturing that scream and using it elsewhere. Like, can you imagine when in the first Avenger when Captain America throws the Hydra soldier out the airplane, the air whatever they were in towards the end, and before he gets sliced up by the propeller, you just hear that scream.
Yeah.
Like it'd be fantastic. Like I hope someone goes back in and dubs that scream over that scene
Oh,
because
you're
I would
talking
watch
about
that.
when Tommy Lee Jones has his Fast and the Furious moment?
Yeah, like just anything or put that scream on Sitwell when Bucky rips him out of the car.
Yes.
I know Sitwell does his own scream, but no, I want that scream now.
Oh yes.
Because that whale was just perfect, and I
Oh
want
my
more
god.
of it.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Oh yes. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to be the ones to do it. I think we're gonna have to spearhead this movement fully.
I'm down.
But yeah, man. Oh my god. Just like I said, it was just such a good fight
It
scene, and
was.
then that line, is just like, you said it at the beginning. I am Captain America. Like just the rage inside him. Like no, like nobody is gonna tell me that I can't do this. Like I'm done. There was just so much
Yeah.
in that. Just like I'm just that. Like this is it.
Yep. And to conclude, I guess that the whole fight thing when Sam and Bucky kind of defeat Walker. I like how Bucky goes over and picks up the shield and he like drops it next to Sam, and that just the look. I just imagine Bucky saying, "It's like, okay, this is your shield now. Keep it this time."
Yes, and that's exactly
And then he
that's
walks off.
exact. Yes, that is exactly what I got from that scene. It was just like, okay, we did it. We're done. Don't screw this up, because it was all. Then it's all for nothing.
And then
But
it comes back to real quick. It comes back to like when Sam was like, "What do you think? We're just gonna stroll up to him, beat him up, and take the shield from him?" And just Bucky's like, "Yes," and that's exactly what they did.
he's a man of his word. Bucky is a
Uh,
man of his word, and just that whole scene, like I really liked that. The moments where they showed Bucky holding the shield, like it's just so much callback to the same thing that John Walker's going through with am I worthy, am I not worthy enough to even hold this shield. And when he does, like I love the scenes when they show him, because I feel like they focus on it, like they have him dead center and they show him just like posing with the shield, and it looks awesome. And especially when like you said, after they get the shield and Bucky picks it up and he's just standing there in the warehouse, and you see the sunlight coming into the warehouse, and he's just standing there. It's a really beautiful shot. And then like you said, he just walks over to Sam and just throws it down, and it's like, it's almost like a we're even
yeah.
sort of thing. But no, I
Don't give it back.
yeah. And then I like how it just cuts to the next scene where they're back in the compound from before, and we finally got Torres back. Like, where the
Oh,
heck has he been hiding this entire series? I really thought after
when
that
was the
first
last?
episode he was gonna be like, okay, he's gonna be that reoccurring character, but man, he's been a ghost.
Well, I
He
think he
is
was
the
he
Sharon
was in
Carter.
episode 2 when they dropped him off because he was in the plane that dropped off Sam and Bucky to the Flag Smashers.
But then he got his face beat in, right?
No, that was in episode 1. Episode 2 was
Yeah.
when he dropped him off because in the first episode, Torres he was on the plane, I think, or no, he was on the ground, I think, right?
Yeah.
He was Sam's man on the ground, but in the second episode when they were on the hunt for the Flag Smashers with Sam and Bucky, Torres was on the plane when Bucky jumped out because Bucky ripped his sleeve off. That's why he said, "Hey, I see you got your sleeve fixed."
Oh, that's
Because Bucky had
right.
ripped his sleeve off his metal arm so he can like catch branches on the way down. I don't know what he was doing with that, but okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh.
But yeah, it was that. Yeah, that scene. I think it was. I think it was the title card, and then that scene just cut them back to like I guess they were like in a hangar. It was a nice little segue because and then Bucky's just like Tor's like, hey, he makes the sleeve joke, and Bucky just walks off. But I
Yeah.
kind of man, like Joaquin Torres in the comics does become the new Falcon when Sam Wilson becomes Captain America.
Really?
And yes, and I know that, and that you kind of see that like all the time with the MCU. You see like all these other characters that become other characters, but do they actually? Will Joaquin Torres become the Falcon? I mean, it was interesting when Sam leaves with the because he got his wings broken in the fight with Walker, and he tells Torres just keep him. So I'm like, oh man, see, I mean, it's another little Easter egg that's being laid. It's just, are we gonna get Joaquin Torres as the Falcon? I don't know if we're gonna get it in the series, but I can see it be a nice little end credit scene for the series, like the last episode, him working on the wings,
Oh yeah. Either
possible
working on
another
them
young
or
Avenger.
yeah. Either
Yeah,
working on them or we'll get to the ending, but
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
we'll definitely try to bring this back up.
Yeah, I didn't think they were actually going to turn Joaquin Torres into the Falcon because I don't think a lot of people know who Joaquin Torres is. Like the main, like the comic readers will, but a lot of the casual fans probably won't. So I was like, I mean, it's just nice to have that character as like a nod to the comics, but maybe he's not actually going to turn into his comic counterpart. But with this, never know.
For
Kind of
real.
interested, and I kind of like Torres. He seems like a charismatic guy, the actor at least. So I'm like, I kind of want to see him in a bigger role. Young Avengers, maybe.
Ooh, that'd be good. Yeah, and I do like that he like you said with him being back and whatnot. I do like his the levity that he brings to
Yeah.
it. It's like it doesn't feel forced or feel like, oh god, it's this character again. Um,
Feels like a
he's
young soldier.
yeah, he's very idealistic and very like peppy and outgoing, and I like it. It keeps it grounded.
Yeah. Agreed.
I guess now we can segue into the courthouse scene with
Yes.
John Walker. So if you want to take point on that, I feel like you have a little bit more to say. There's one thing that I noticed, but I'll talk more about that.
Well, there's definitely more I want to say about the event after the trial. But yeah, so I don't know. Cause I didn't serve in the military. I don't know how. I feel like the trial like happened like immediately. I don't know exactly how long trials take for military personnel like that, but I felt like it was just like we got like there was a lot of PR that the U.S. government like they were like, oh, we gotta like distance ourselves from this guy. We got to show like he is not with the, you know what I mean? Like it just felt even that trial kind of felt like it was something for show, just for the rest of the world to see it because of the action that John Walker did. And I'm not condoning what John Walker did because I mean he just straight up murdered a guy. I mean, yeah, I guess technically that guy was a terrorist, even though he wasn't the guilty party of any violent, I guess, terrorist act. Like he didn't bomb the GRC, he didn't kill Hoskins. But I think Walker makes a valid point when he's discussing, or when he's talking to the military council, the people judging him, because you see it in a lot of others in the media about how a lot of war vets are that when they people sign up for the military, then they get trained and they get sent into these war zones, and they follow orders and they do probably a lot of unspeakable acts that we never as regular citizens know about in the news because all that stuff is classified. And then when it's time to send these troops home, a lot sometimes the military and the US government just forgets about them. There's nothing, and then a lot of times these people, when they get back to civilian life, they can't really handle it. And I kind of felt like he was making a valid point when he says, you made me. And he's like, I did all of this stuff for you, and it feels like they're just discarding him. Like he makes one, granted it was a terrible mistake, and I'm not condoning his actions whatsoever, like it was bad, but like they're basically just getting rid of him. They're throwing him back. I mean, how is it? He's not going to get like a regular 9 to 5 job after this. Like, even if he's not technically court-martialed, I think, what do they call it? Other discharged? I know it
Yeah.
wasn't dishonorable or discharge, but they called it something else, and I probably should have wrote it down. But I just felt like they kind of treat. I don't know. I felt like, I mean, again, this is just a show, and I understand why they did it for the show, but for a real life scenario, like in the real world, you know, you do see a lot of military personnel getting kind of forgotten in the whole transition of coming back to civilian life, and I kind of took that away from his the point he was trying to make.
Oh, most definitely, man. Like it was just it was a really great scene. Like I said, this episode, these shots, the way they chose to portray things, and again, at the end of the day, it is up to the actors to portray, these characters, and like you said, at the same time, yes, it is a show, and but at the same time, it is talking about real issues, real things, and I really did like how he portrayed, like, hey, I've given my life and my service
Yep.
to my country, and this is the reward I get. Like I make, like you said, granted, it horrible situation, but it was a mistake, and you can tell that
Mhm.
he does feel remorse for that. It may not be a lot because again, he's conflicted.
Yeah.
He's feeling everything, and he's got that serum inside him. That stuff enhances stuff.
Yeah.
Any
Exponentially.
Yeah, so if he's feeling doubt, that's gonna enhance it even more. And that's the thing about his character, is that he constantly needs reassurance about what he's doing, about that the path that he's on is the correct path, which does sort of touch on something that we'll talk about a little later with a different character. But yeah, dude, and again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it. Wyatt Russell's killing this role, man. Like, body language that he used when they told him he wasn't going to be Cap anymore, the little head tilts that he's doing, like, back and forth, and the rocking, it's just like you see it in his head, like he's just like, I'm feeling so much right now, like I can't process it. At the same time, I do want to kill you for
Yeah.
everything that you're putting me through, but like like we said, it's just the way that he's portraying, especially what the military and the government is doing to him, more so the government is doing to him, with saying,
Yeah.
hey, you're gonna do this, we chose you, and you're gonna be the face. And when something happens, and they say it constantly, oh, it's a PR nightmare, it's like an example needs to be made, so how do you do that? Strip him of his title. But man, they went even further to kick a guy when he's down. Like, we're
Took his
gonna
benefits away.
yeah, no benefits. What they were saying about the honorable discharge, it was neither or. They were making it seem more like, we're just letting you go, you're not getting dishonorably discharged. You're lucky we're not giving you dishonorable discharge, but you're not getting
Court
honorable
martial.
discharge. Like, you're barely getting honorable discharge, you're just getting a discharge.
Yeah.
And it's
I
just like, it's such a slap in the face, for someone who's devoted their life and their entire being to doing the right thing for, their fellow person, for their country, and believing in that. And
yeah.
that's what I really like, because it touches a lot on how Steve was. He, at the end of the day, he believed in good, whether or not, the government was involved. Like, I mean, that was the whole point of Winter Soldier. He went against the
Yeah.
government
I was about to
and
say that was
Shield.
probably the difference
Yeah, but it's
between him
because
and
he stood for, he had ideals, like, and
yeah.
he was very vocal about those ideals. Like, no, we don't, we don't trade lives, and we don't, we stand by, and we help the little guy, and we fight for the little guy. That was his whole thing.
I
But
want
yeah,
to like yeah, I think that was the difference between Steve Rogers and John Walker is, you know, John Walker was that yes man in the military, or it seemed like, you know, he followed orders, and I mean, he did his job, and I'm it looked. I mean, from the what we've seen, he did his job well. All those medals and accommodations he received, but like Steve had his own. It seemed like he had his own, like you said, ideal of what was morally good. And if that was something that, and if the government or like say Shield or Nick Fury told him, "Hey, we need you to do this," and that went against his ideals, Steve was not afraid to like say no, that's not right. But I also want to say that's also, I mean, it's also kind of goes back to Zemo's point about super soldiers being a version of a supremacist, because again I mean, but Steve, like, in a sense, because you Steve had his own sense, but you knew it was a good, like, he was a good man. But like that also like kind of brings to Zemo's point about being a supremacist, because we're just gonna, like, he had his ideals and he was gonna fight for his ideals regardless if perhaps, I mean, yeah, Steve was always right, it seemed like, but what if he was wrong? I mean, and he was fighting for those. I can see Zemo's point, just to bring back the first like episode, what he was saying in episode 4 to what we were talking about just now. But I mean, I'm not knocking Steve Rogers, because Steve Rogers, that's Captain America. I don't know where I was going with that.
No, no, you said it perfectly.
It
It's
sounded better in my
again.
head.
No, 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 no. It was perfect. At the end of it all, it's about legacy.
Yeah.
It's about John Walker's in the shadow of not only the symbol of Captain America, but he's also in the shadow of Steve Rogers, because they are two different people.
Yeah.
Cap is, like I said, he's the symbol, he's hope, he's this, he's that. But Steve Rogers, at the end of the day, is still a man. He still has inner conflict, he still has doubts,
Yeah,
and
I think.
he even questions his ideals sometimes, but he always found a way to say, you know what, no, it's forget regulations, forget rules, forget this, forget that. At the end of the day, it's about what is right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, a lot, like the majority of the public, like, in the MCU, they see Captain America, like they see the symbol. I think they see the symbol, but what they don't understand is that Steve Rogers, his personality, his persona, his ideals is what makes that symbol work. And now when they see John with John Walker, he thinks that it's the symbol that's going to make him better. So he thinks the iconic, stars and stripes and the shield and the moniker of Captain America is going to what makes him be a better soldier. But it's actually the opposite. It's because Steve Rogers was a good man. That's what made Captain America the ideal, I don't want to say American, but just the ideal, version of what America could be, if that makes sense.
No, no, it does. It
Because
makes.
Steve was, well, how Erskine said it, he was a good man. Not, he said he didn't want a perfect soldier, but a good man. John Walker was the perfect soldier, but maybe a morally gray man. And I think that's the difference between them two. Like Steve, it's because of what Steve stood for, is how is the reason why Captain America became Captain America, as opposed to Captain America. John's expecting the title of Captain America to boost him up instead of the opposite. It's all about the man, not the symbol.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's a line from, one of them. I can't remember which movie, but that. Oh no, I think it was Erskine that says to him, it's about the man.
Yeah, I don't. He basically said he didn't want a perfect soldier. He wanted a good man. I don't know the exact quote, but yeah, he tells him that when they were gonna share drinks or whatever, but
Yeah.
Steve couldn't drink because he was about to go through a procedure.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he tells him, like, don't. And even like right before, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, right before he dies, he even points at him, right? If I remember, am I remembering
yeah.
that
I think
correctly?
he like
Like he
taps him on
points
the
at his
heart, the
heart.
chest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, don't forget, it's
who you are.
you.
Yeah,
You're the one that affects, how this serum interacts with you. Like, yes, it's gonna do its thing, but it's about who you are.
yeah,
And again, I think what it comes down to is John Walker is about getting the job done.
yeah,
Steve was about doing the right thing, and that's what separates them. And like you said it perfectly with, it's, Steve was the man that had the ideals, that was like, he is what made the symbol what it was and what it could be and what it was supposed to stand for. What Walker's doing is he's trying to, like, oh, that'll, like you said it perfectly, like that's gonna do it for him. And that, but like you said, he's a morally, gray man, but it's because of, the doubt in himself, and he needs constant reassurance that, he's doing the right thing, and that's ultimately his downfall.
Yep.
I think we can move on to the probably one of the greatest cameo appearances in the MCU, and it did make me scream because of joy because I love this actress. I love her, and I was so sidelined. So just the scene, John Walker sitting there defeated with finally confirmed his wife.
His
because
wife,
I know we were doubting. We were like, is this his girlfriend, his wife? Like what's going on here? I was like, now we got confirmation in this episode. He's sitting there with his wife, defeated, and you just see the heels come in the
yeah, like when you hear the sound, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be the cameo. I was like, this has got to be the cameo, because they didn't show the person walking up. Like you see the heels, and then it pans up, and I'm like, and for the life of me, I could not remember the actress's name at the time. I was like, I think that's that Veep girl, the chicken Veep.
You show her some respect, sir. That is Julia freaking Louis Dreyfus.
No, I got it afterwards. I was like, yeah, but I could not think of her name. Oh,
I'll be honest. I completely forgot you told me about the cameo, that there was a cameo. Like, I completely forgot about it. And when I saw the heels at first, I was like, hold up, is this Sharon Carter?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I thought she was going to be showing up, and then saw the walking. And then once I saw her, I was like, oh! Because, dude, I freaking love her so much. And I loved Veep. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to watch the show Veep, go watch that show.
Me, I saw the last episode though.
Yeah, oh my god, dude, that last episode was perfect. It summed up everything about that show. But yes, now available on HBO Max.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah, when she walks in, I was like, all right, okay, and then like she said her name, and I was like at first, okay, so her character's name is Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine. Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yes, and remind me who that is, because I want to say that name sounds so familiar.
No, just the name Contessa. I was like, Contessa, where have I know it's from the comics, but I was trying to think, and then it dawned on me. I was like, that's Madam Hydra in the comics. She goes by Madam Hydra. So I'm like, I was like, is Hydra making a comeback? And I can kind of see if they want to bring Hydra back, But at this point in the MCU, like I feel like we can move on from Hydra. I really do. Like, I can see them bringing back, like maybe she was, not in Shield's files, and she's now trying to rebuild Hydra. But I honestly think they're just repurposing her character into the Power Broker.
Ooh,
I think she's the Power Broker, because she, when she's talking to John, trying to tell, like, I guess essentially like making him job offer. If I'm being honest, she said she gave him the business card, and she says, I'll be, I'll be in touch. But like she knew that he took the serum. She knew he did not currently own the Shield. And I'm like, okay, so she knows this. So, and it kind of goes back to the thing about the Power Broker's always watching. Well, it seems like she has eyes everywhere. So how would she know that? Like, not a lot of people know he took the serum and that he doesn't have the Shield. The only people who would know that is who? Maybe Sam and Bucky. That's it. Because the government still thought Walker had the Shield. So I was like, man, I hope she's the Power Broker.
That actually makes a lot of sense now. Especially now that I know that, like you said, that that she's Madam Hydra.
Yes.
Okay.
In the comics, she's Madam Hydra.
So that makes sense then, because one of the things I was noticing, so I said it earlier about the cinema. I really enjoyed the cinematography in this episode. Like, it was just the way that they just focus on certain shots and they just let the camera sit there. Like, it's very beautiful, and that makes sense now with how this scene is shot, because she just inserts herself right in between John and his wife when
Yep.
she's talking with him, and she's just like, the way that she's using the words that she uses, like she's like enticing him, like, oh, you did this, and you
Yeah,
just
she
see,
basically says, "I would have killed him too," and
yeah,
then she was like, "I would have wiped them all out."
yeah, and you just see his wife looking in, like,
Like,
like, hey, like, I'm here, but you see him like doubting himself, but also like listening a little bit to what the Contessa's saying. It's like, huh, like, now after hearing what you just said, that makes a lot more sense, and especially with the way that it was shot, it's like, okay,
God, it's.
especially if they bring Hydra back, that's
I
a
hope they
very
don't
good
though.
personification of, Hydra weaving its way in
Yeah,
between, the good.
I just kind of hope we're done with. I mean, I would accept Hydra coming back, but I think I'm just kind of hoping like because I don't want to get into it. I don't know if I want to get into it now because eh, I don't know if I want Hydra to come back. Like I'm okay with her having her own like organization. I don't want to know like her own I guess criminal organization or whatever. But I would just be okay with her being the power broker and not Madam Hydra. Like I'm okay with Madam Hydra staying or just Hydra in general.
It would make sense that she is the power broker, especially with the satellites, which makes me think that Sharon's actually a double agent. Like, she's actually undercover with them and infiltrating, and she's doing what she has to do
That's
for
what I,
that.
okay. That's what I was gonna say. Like I just like if they're bringing Hydra back, I can't see unless Sharon is undercover. And maybe we'll find out. I can't see Sharon working for Hydra given the events of Civil War or Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
I
thinking. I'm thinking deep cover. But, I mean, we can
yeah,
talk more
it's
about that at
possible.
the end of the episode.
Yeah, but also if they are bringing Hydra back, my boy Zola, my boy Zola.
It's been Zola all along.
What if his like AI is actually in those satellites?
I was just thinking that he's one of, what was it, one of the 6 satellites, or he's all 6 satellites.
Nah,
Oh, yes.
he's the AI in Peter Parker's Edith glasses.
Oh god, yes.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe
He's
Zola and Edith's got something going on like AI wise. Like I don't know. I mean, artificial intelligence. I'm sure they have needs.
Oh my
You
god,
never
did you
know.
just come up with the next WandaVision? What would that be? Cuz it'd be Zola and Edith, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
already sounds like
Or
a
maybe it was
sitcom.
Zola. Maybe it was Zola and Friday, and the Edith is the offspring.
Yes. Oh, I like
That
this. I
is
like this
that is
idea.
so bad.
Marvel, if you're listening, Kevin Feige, we have an idea for you.
Yes. We're not going to promise it's a good idea, but it's an idea.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
you have a what if show coming out? You have an animated what if show? Call us second season.
Hey, we're
Just saying.
available. We're
I'm
ready and we're
I've
willing, Feige.
I've I've got nothing going on.
We will bend the knee. So, let's go ahead and let's shift gears. Let's talk about Zemo.
And his brief appearance.
Yes, but
I hope
so much in
I
such a short scene, though.
I don't want like I want more Zemo. Like I really hope this is not the last we see of Zemo.
Oh no, no, there's no way. Like, just the way that the scene ended, it's just, no, they left it open. But oh my god, dude, Bucky and
Did you
Zemo's
did you think
interaction.
Bucky was gonna shoot him?
No, no, I
Man,
think he's come too far, and especially with
they sold it though. They
everything
sold the tension.
they did. Like, I had a feeling, something was gonna happen in that scene, like, especially with the way Zemo is, and just, oh god, like, again, you want to talk about two actors that just play so well back and forth with each other. Sebastian Stan and Daniel Bruhl. You know, Bruhl.
Yeah, and it's
They,
just it's as simple as ticks too, like in their face. It's just their mannerisms. Like they were literally just standing there, talking to each other. but they showed so much. It's just a little tiniest little mannerisms in their face,
It's
and they're
how they talk to each other though, and it's the relationship that
yeah,
those two characters have. It's always been you're a means to an end with Zemo and Bucky. You were the catalyst that will break apart, the Avengers in Civil War. With that now being said, now that that's at the end, now it's just okay, let me just toy with you even further, but still, like, there was almost like an, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an understanding with each other. And I don't know if, that's just Zemo up to his old ways, but I really enjoyed the back and forth with them. And I love that scene when he's just looking at the statue in Sokovia, which I'm glad we got to see Sokovia again, because we talk about it so much throughout, the later half of the series, but to finally see it again, even though you can tell it's severely green screened, just the fact that, we're back in that area and they're just, they're having their conversation about, I went ahead and marked myself off in your book, and there's that, like, sort of understanding, like, hey, what's done is done.
yeah, like
Like,
literally no hard feelings.
yeah.
Like it
And
was one of those ones where it's like it really wasn't when they say it was nothing personal. Like it really wasn't with them, or at least with Zemo. Like it really wasn't personal for Bucky, and I feel like it's the same with. I think Bucky maybe took it a little personally though.
yeah. But
But
yeah, like and that's the one thing that I love about Zemo is that, at the end of everything, he is a guy who lost his family, and again, another character dealing with grief. Like, just that look on his face when he's standing there in front of the statue, and it's sort of like it would be so cool to see the story from Zemo's side. And I
yeah,
think he does such a great job at portraying that, like, without us seeing it, that you actually start to feel for Zemo. You're like, this dude, same thing, served his country, did his job, and he finds out that his family is dead, and they died because of others that were just doing their job, being heroes, doing their thing. So it's so cool to see that other side. But I think he goes like, the way that they go about showing it from his end makes sense, but that's because of the way that they portray his character
yeah,
versus, something else we'll talk about in a little while. But, like I said, we'll get there. But, like, right after, like you said, you asked me, did I really think Bucky was gonna do it? And I was like, no. He's come too far as an individual. Like, he, one, doesn't want to be that person anymore, and two, isn't that person. Like, he is different now. Like, yes, he still has his struggles and his turmoil, but he's still, doing what he can. But I love the image of him just dropping the bullets,
yeah.
and then you pan out and boom, Wakanda is back, and they are here for yo ass, Zemo.
But even when they were taking the Dora Milaje was taking him away, like I still felt like Zemo was still in. I mean I don't know if it's just because of Daniel Brew. I just felt like Zemo was still in control of the whole thing. I don't like. I feel like he knew what was going to happen, and I think maybe the Bucky, like, firing the gun even though it wasn't loaded. Maybe that kind of shocked him a little bit, like, because I think it was like I felt like Zemo probably knew Bucky wasn't going to shoot him, so when he actually pulled the trigger to, like, the gun being empty, it kind of like jarred him a little bit. He's like, whoa, like. But I still feel like it just felt, maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I just felt like Zemo was still in control, and I just don't want to see the end of Zemo.
No, I think you're onto something with that. Well, especially to what you just said right now with how Zemo did looked a little shocked. I think it's two things. So one, I think Zemo still believes, like, oh, Winter Soldier, you're still in there, and
Yeah,
you're gonna do it and you're gonna follow through. Like, he's counting on it. But the reason why he's counting on it, and that's the other part, Zemo wants to die.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. That.
Zemo wants to die. And that's shown at the end of Civil War
Yeah.
when, he's having his talk with T'Challa, and they're on the side, of the mountain, and he's just talking about his family. He's listening to the voicemail of his wife. And, he puts the gun to his head. And he pulls that trigger, yeah. Dude. He's ready. He's ready to go. He was like, I've completed my mission. I did what I needed to do. And, T'Challa's line, about that the living aren't through with him.
Yeah.
And it just cuts, you said it, fast forward to where we are now, like you said, I don't think he's done either, because remember, you even said it too in a previous episode, Zemo's thing, all I need is time. All I need is time. Give me time, and you better believe I will always get my way. And I think that's where that's coming.
And then the last thing I was gonna talk about with that one was when they, I don't know the characters, the Dora Milaje's character, but she tells Bucky to stay out of, basically to steer clear of Wakanda for the next for a little while. And I'm like, man,
yeah.
I knew that was coming though. Like I knew that was coming, and he ended up losing his, like, I guess would be second home, or the one place he felt peaceful. And I'm like, he ended up losing it. But like I knew that was coming, so I was like, man, is this guy, like, I thought there was gonna be like a not as a big welcoming home from the United States when they came back, but because I felt like the terms of his pardon, it got violated, so I thought they were gonna like maybe try to throw him back in jail. But I was like, man, he's gonna lose both his homes.
And you did call that, that is the one occurring theme that that's one of the things you did touch on previously about him. He's literally a lone wolf, like he's trying to find his place, but it's one of those things where it's not necessarily that nobody wants him. It's that, he feels that, one, he's not wanted, and two, it's like, yeah. But what was his response? I was trying to remember that, because it did make me chuckle a little. What wasn't it, like, fair enough or something like that?
Something, yeah. It was
like,
just
fair
something
enough.
Like nonchalantly. He's just like, yeah.
I really liked Bucky in this episode. He was just so like, I think I've accepted my reality of everything, and he's just sort of like I said, you can definitely see it a little differently in this episode. But I mean, we'll touch a little bit more on that in a little while.